here. So I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, we're lucky we're on the police grid, so our power never went out when everybody lost their
We were on the
power.
hospital grid, thank goodness. So, but I didn't have water for a week. That kind of wasn't cool with a 1 year old. But
Oh yeah,
All right, let's roll.
that wouldn't be fun.
Video's up. David, you
All
want to
right.
roll audio?
Yeah, give me a sec. And if we'll skip the find the right team article too until we hear from him.
Right.
Now recording.
Kyle, you plan on taking the first one. Be ready for that. The Sim Studio.
oh, me?
Okay, stand by. He's typing.
Oh, gotcha.
Marius is typing.
Oh, okay. We're gonna wait.
All right, he says he'll be here in 10 minutes. Hang on. Let me type. Actually, you can go ahead and start. I'll type to him.
All right. And who wants the orange paragraph this time? Doug, I'm gonna nominate you. You read the orange paragraph.
And remember, you can follow along with that one.
Yes.
Okay.
3, 2. Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, David Hall.
I saw grass today.
What? Doug Deedy.
Starting to thaw out here in Dallas also.
Chris Randall.
Hey, everybody. Good evening.
Welcome. And William Westbrook.
Hello, in a long time, everybody.
On today's show, we will revisit the 518 incidents of the Daytona 24. IndyCar to Washington, D.C. What are iRacing's secret licenses? Do you need a motorized seat slider? Check out the Moza Mission R wheel. How realistic is iRacing's Mercedes AMG GT3? And we sit down with Marius Pretorius from Sim Team Architect.
And remember, you can follow along with us on your PC or mobile device in real times as you listen to the show and see for yourself all the great topics and products we'll discuss, and visit iRacerLounge.com and selecting show notes. Hope to see you there.
All right, our first topic is a sim racing studio tour of sorts. And my impression of the video, Chris, is that it's really important that you have fake plants.
Yeah, and excellent craftsmanship as well. No, this is OC Racing. He's been moving into a new studio. I think he'd done 1 or 2 videos before just showing the space, kind of walking everybody around. But it looks like he's finally about got it completed, and he's just showing off the lighting for his studio. He has 2 rigs in there, but you can see from the preview here, we've got a big photograph or photo shoot kind of set up there. It's actually pretty cool. He did kind of get scammed on some AI posters, but otherwise it's pretty cool space. I guess that's where he's going to start recording his content in.
I like the one that he's got a white backdrop, and he's got lighting, like professional lighting. And so you can tell, he's professionally trained in how to film and do that type of stuff because it looks like a professional studio.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what's the worst review video, guys, when they have a black metal product with a background or a black table or whatever, and you're trying to look at it close and it's just hard to see. Well done to Oscar. Looking good. Kind of neat that he has a dedicated space. I can't imagine the additional cost per month that adds, but hey, good luck. I hope it works out.
All right, we got a new compound word, Doug. It's called Simgineer.
don't think I saw this one here.
This was a pretty good
I'll
one.
pass it over to Mike.
I, I, guys, if you recall, I put this one in the chat saying I'm envious of this team, Coanda Esports, because they literally have a race engineer on staff, so to speak, or on the team. So when the others race, they have a dedicated guy poring over the data, trying to figure out all the engineering stuff, that goes along with it. And even though we're an amateur team, I can't tell you how many races I've lost because I didn't calculate fuel right. I didn't make the right decisions as far as strategy, this and that. If I had a dedicated engineer, I really feel like I would be over that particular hurdle.
Can you afford to pay a salary for somebody?
Well, that's what Brad asked. Brad said even he offered he'd to do it if with a salary. Do you think this guy's getting paid on Coanda Esports? I guess I'll
Well,
ask that question.
that's
Oh,
kind
for
of an
sure.
obvious. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah, I
getting
think
paid.
so.
No doubt about it.
I mean, all of the setup guys get paid. We just had a couple of them on the show just recently, and I know Michael Jeans as well does some work for some of the Elliott Satellite Esports group, and yeah, they get money for that kind of stuff. For sure.
Well, look, so my ask of the listeners, all us amateurs out here that are not on these professional teams with money, take turns. Go spot your buddy, especially for Daytona 500. Get above him like the helicopter view or something, and turn into TJ Majors, door bumper clear, that kind of stuff. You know what? I have actually talked some of my teammates into wins that I don't think they would have won if I wasn't talking to them, and I'm not boasting either. It has happened.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if this will be another sim to reality type. We've already got the sim racers, we got the broadcasters. I wonder if the engineers start moving up through this as well.
Why not? Makes sense to me.
I'd like to welcome to the show special guest Marius Pretorius. How you doing, Marius? His mic is muted. He may not be ready yet, so I'll cut that part out, and we'll come back to him in a second. Let me transition to the next topic. Okay, second year, it's time to scan them. This is just a post from Adam Stern, and it's the Oscar Mayer Wieners racing at Indy.
Yeah, I think last year at this time on this show we called out, hey, we want these scanned for iRacing. And I think one of the reasons we decided it might not happen was maybe it was just a one-off race. But guess what? They're back again for the second annual Wienermobile race at the Wiener 500. Hey, that's a title idea, Wiener 500. But anyway, I also will call for the second year in a row. Let's scan these just for fun. I mean, look, iRacing is so serious all the time, and we do have a fantasy car, one of them, a Dallara IR01, but this isn't even fantasy. This is real. Let's go get a scan of it. What do you guys think? Would you race the Oscar Mobile?
Probably not, just to be honest. It's cool they're bringing it
Oh,
back, though. I mean, social media response was obviously driving it. People loved it last year. It'll probably
did
go on
anybody
for a few
actually
more years.
watch it? I didn't see it.
Last year,
I'm
yeah,
just
oh yeah.
wondering, was there multiple ones or just like two or three, or
No,
was
there's
it like a
there's five of
full?
them,
Oh, okay, so they brought them
or
all
five or
in, I
six. I don't
guess.
remember which. Yeah, yeah. They go along the country. They brought all of them in, and they went around the track.
Yeah, that would be funny.
All right, next up, Mike, we've got iRacing Creator Series Season 3. So is this it almost looks like, I don't know. Just tell me what it is.
Well, it's just an announcement of the driver lineup for the Creator Series. And it's a broadcasted iRacing event, basically, with three types of cars. Looks like sports car, GT, and Indy car. But a lot, you look at the faces, a lot of familiar names. I see some pro drivers in here from some of the various pro series around iRacing, as well a lot of YouTube streamers and Twitchers and familiar faces that we have seen before. So that those are always fun to watch.
I didn't actually watch this last year, even though I knew it was a thing. Um, how was it? Anybody watch it? Was it because they pair some of the non-iRacing creators with some iRacers? So I assume it goes about as well as we think it does. Did anybody see it?
I remember talking about it, and I think the pros obviously always win, and I think that's the obvious thing here. So.
This is just a one-off race. I mean, it says season 3, so I didn't know if it was just a one and done, or if they've got a couple different races.
Yeah, I'm not sure how
Uh,
that lays out, but yeah, we'll have to look for it.
I'd assume it's at least 3 races for the 3 different cars, but yeah, not 100% sure.
Maybe throw them out there together.
I would like to introduce to the show and welcome to the show special guest Marius Pretorius. How you doing, Marius?
Hi, good morning, everybody, and yeah, well, morning for me, probably evening for you. Without some technical difficulties, it wouldn't be a sim racing podcast, I suspect. So yeah, but thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to talking you through my project and yeah, just talking sim racing in general because I do enjoy the show.
Well, we certainly already talked when I reached out to you that you're going to stick around and just going to be a guest host for the whole show. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about you, and we'd like to start with basically what brought you to iRacing and how did you hear about it?
Well, so in 2019 I tested a rig of a friend. I wasn't into sim racing at the time, but I've always been enjoying racing in general. Yeah, racing in general. First, um, not sim, but racing game I played was Gran Turismo 3. So, like what is PlayStation 2 days, and got out to almost 100% it. And then in 2019, I tested a rig on iRacing. But at that point, like most some guys, you go to Assetto Corsa and you try all the things, and I just saw the content of iRacing, and then I just got hooked. Got hooked into the pool, the money pool. that is iRacing at some degree, but I've been enjoying it ever since. Been on and off. Having a job and family, obviously I don't drive as much as one would like, but I do enjoy it. The first proper endurance race it was Bathurst in 2020, 12 hours. So that was a roller coaster. I think every Bathurst is a roller coaster. But yes, that is how I got hooked into iRacing, and ever since on the roads, on the sports car side. The oval racing, I've never got my head around. I've tried it, and I've got more respect for oval racing than I had before. But yeah, it's basically how I've been racing ever since then, on and off, on and off. Yeah,
Well,
that's
you mentioned endurance racing, and that kind of brings about how we found out about you. You were in my split in the Daytona 24, weren't you?
yes. So two of our teams we call ourselves Al Slow Mo, which is so and we had two of our teams racing in it. And what we did, we I created our own. For lack of a better word, we just called it our IMSA challenge. So we're gonna race all the IMSA special events, all the RSC special events that are IMSA that have real IMSA races on them. And I had a look at all our ratings in our team, and I said, okay, well, if we drive GT3s or GTPs, we will be in the bottom splits, and then we won't have multi-class racing, and then we've got to compete against a lot more people to get a good result. I said, okay, well, let's do the LMPs. We've raced it before over the years since it came out, before the GDP days. We raced it a lot, and we said, okay, let's try it again. Now it's been a while. So then we used the jumped in LMP, and then obviously we were pushed into higher splits, which is which is for slow guys like us. It wasn't not say baptism of fire, but close to it. We were very traffic wasn't very nice to us always. But I mean, it's part of the fun. It's part of the learning curve. Yeah, and so we were in your split, which was awesome to see the you guys are running with us, and you had a smoother race than we did, but not as smooth as you also would like. From what I
Certainly
gather
not.
from all, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to guarantee you're going to get the multi-class is to drive the LMP2 because it's the least
Yeah.
popular. But I think we were third from the bottom split, actually. I think because we're not
Yeah.
particularly speed demons either.
Yeah, no, which just enough to get to us useless LMP2 drivers. So yeah.
Well, both of our accidents were just accidents. And not a whole lot you can do. It's just unlucky that we were right behind somebody when they messed up, and one of them was an LMP2. But
Hope it wasn't us.
it wasn't like it wasn't malicious or boneheadedness. It was just they got loose, they got wrecked. So it
Yeah.
happens. So other than the enduros, what series do you usually run?
Some of the what do you call it, remaster stuff I do run every now and again. Nordschleifer. After I getting my head around it, it's one of those tracks that it's always you fight the track more than you fight other drivers just because of the nature of the size. So that I do race a lot, and the IMSA's the series I do race, and then IndyCar. For some reason, the IR 18, yeah, it's 18. That's just cheap thrill, in my opinion. Not if you race against other people always, but it's very satisfying to get at it on the track, and so I do that, and then the F3s. I do love the F3s. It's and I switched to VR in December, and racing the single seaters in VR was that's fun. I mean the GT cars and the LMP2 is also cool, but the open wheel racing, that's a lot of fun. So I must say that is probably my main racing focus. But more on that, if it's not team racing, it's that. It's when I have time to drive on my own. So yeah, that's it's fun. I'm looking forward to doing the IndyCar, the full races, like as they come out in iRacing again, and trying to do that because then it's more spread out and easily to do. It's always fun.
So the IIS instead of the NIS is I think what you're talking about, right? That full season series.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Cool.
I'll be
Well,
in the bottom.
so we can
So
see a little bit of your hardware. So tell us a little bit about what you're racing, and also I like your tracks that you have up on the wall as well.
So the wheel I've got is a 30 Newton meter direct drive. It's a Thorax. It's a local guy in Pretoria, Jonathan Robson, that made them. So it's easy to get repaired because in South Africa, or these Moser wheels and Fanatec they're very expensive. When the landing cost, it's very high. So he started making them a few years ago, and I ended up buying one of the first ones, the OG ones, and then upgraded, and I bought this one. It's very small, and as you can see, it's not, but it's strong, and yeah, I must say enjoy it. And I've got a set of load cell pedals that he made. Yeah, so that's actually very nice. It's I can say custom to a certain degree. So yeah.
Do you ever feel Do you ever feel like you're missing out on something by going with something that's custom like that when you see all these other products that we're all spending the money on?
Well, yes. I feel like I'm not. I don't know, to be honest. I did test a Moser. I think it's an R3 at one of these arcades, and I tested it in my Assetto Corsa, driving around like an hour. But in an hour, you can't really get feel for it. And I didn't feel it different, to be honest. Mine's not set up to max, and I know the when Jonathan made it, he used the Assetto Corsa a lot for the firmware side. So I don't know. It's almost like one of those things you can't miss what you don't have or have never had.
Now,
Which
did you
is
say
maybe
30, 30 or 1-3?
1-3.
Ah, okay.
He did make a 30 later on, but I mean, that's like a monster. But the I don't know, to be honest. I'm always curious to see, but when I tested it, it didn't feel different. It didn't feel like, okay, no, wait, there is something to it. It was just so, but it's yeah, it comes with his with caveat to using something like this, it's custom, as you say, but it's price wise. I mean, it was it was about a third of the price of the same strength on a Moser or a Fanatec, if not more.
Is
So
that
that's
tariffs that are knocking that up or shipping price?
no, it's shipping because this is before tariffs, years before tariffs. But it's just shipping. I mean, a Moser wheel is expensive in South Africa. I would not advise anybody getting into sim racing just to go for it. But I mean, Moses, probably the most easy to get now. If you go past your Logitechs and your Thrustmasters, I actually started with the Thrustmaster, a TX. I bought one secondhand, but the motor was giving me headaches. After an hour, the force feedback died, so kind of useless. After that, so yeah, I got that replaced. But that's when I went to the big direct drive route. But yeah, I've got no complaints, to be honest. Support's been awesome. If with firmware wise, I haven't touched it in having to fix or change something in some probably now 3 years running. So
So
I've
software wise, do you run any third party apps along with iRacing?
yeah, he's he made his own thing called SimNerve, and we use it just for general for setting different type settings from the strength to the there's a lot of different. I can't even remember all the settings. You just run it and leave it. But it's a thing. Yeah, the torque, the response, the gain, the weight of the wheel. It's got telemetry on the RPMs as well, so you can feel the engine vibrations through it. So yeah, it's good. It's yeah, the interface makes, but you don't have to run it. Ironically, you can actually close the program. It doesn't even have to run in the background. Then it's got a set settings on it. It'll just use that. But if you want to tweak it a bit, you just switch it on and you can set it up a lot better, which I did and just left it. It's one of those. I don't like playing around with that as much as I like tinkering with things and doing DIY base shakers and button boxes and steering wheels. This is like it's like it's almost like trying to set up VR. You'll never stop. Yeah.
Well, speaking of VR versus monitors, this is the
Yes.
most polarizing question in iRacing is VR or triples.
I started with like normal test clamp, okay, and then it's like get a rig, get an aluminium rig. Then I got one screen. Obviously, one is never enough. Then you go triples, and I've got a 3060 card in, so so it's strong enough for triples. And then about a year ago, in 2026, I did Roar. I did the Roar 24. Yeah, the Roar in the LMP3, and I won the race. Okay, it was awesome. First time I've won a race in iRacing. It was the Roar. It was raining. It was iRacing bliss. Yeah. And I got in a house with my rig is in a separate flat, and I told my wife, "Now I won." And my daughter, she was like 7 at the time. She looked at 8 at the time. She looked at me and says, "I also want to race." And I said, "Well, challenge accepted." So I just dismantled my rig. So I got one monitor on. I built her one because I had a second wheel, an old wheel and pedals here. So I could race with her. I said, screw it, I'll do it. And then I raced on one monitor for a while, and which is actually still fine when I switched. And then in December, I reassembled it, the 3 scores. I thought, I just want to get the feeling again. And then I realized how big this thing is really. And I said, no, okay, you know what? I think if I go VR, I can change. This can be a bit smaller. But just get an opportunity to do something, to buy hardware. And I had a look at the prices, and the prices have gone down a lot for VR headsets. And I got a Meta Quest S3S. Obviously, entry level one, and because of the 3060 I'm running, it's going to be a waste of money to pay double for the S and anything else. And I got it, set it up, and run the graphics at minimum in iRacing, which it's still good at least, so that's okay. And I'm enjoying it. But if you ask me blunt, will I go triples or VR? I don't know. For immersion, you can't beat VR, but for the quality, what you see, the screens just look way better. I mean, it just is. But being able to see the car in front of you with their suspension and everything, that was what hooked me on it. And I'll die in that hill. My iRacing died as well. My iRating died with VR in the beginning, just getting used to everything. And I was quite shocked at how different it is compared to screens, even triples with even having that field of view. But I would not. I would say do a screen, and then later on, yeah, maybe test somebody's VR and see if it's for you. But you need time on VR.
Well,
That much.
you may have already mentioned it, but what would you consider is your most memorable iRacing moment?
No, we're winning the Roar to 24. On a solo side, that was that. But on the team endurance side, doing our first Bathurst in 2020. I mean, your first endurance with we were 4 people. 3 of us were new new to team racing, sim racing in general, but more to team racing. And one guy was carrying us, and the guy that did the first stint, he crashed out, and we had an hour repair. He had like, okay, well, baptism of fire. So that was awesome. And then we did Le Mans when it was still Le Mans, a special event. That was we had like, you always want to do Le Mans, like doing Daytona 24 hours. It's one of those you have to at least do it once. And we were able to do it once. It was still in the BMW M8 GTE. So that was it's just awesome. But talking to people, like we're talking now, being in the sim on the race and you're talking, it's amazing. It's the best feeling. I would recommend team racing over any other form of racing, to such extent that I'm doing more team races than I'm doing solo races. I'll practice obviously on my own and do AI races even, but team racing is it's just way more fun. Talking, racing, yeah. But you need
So
the
we
right
usually
people.
also ask about team, like what team you race with, but that gives us a nice transition to go ahead and talk about your project and one of the first topics we're going to cover, and that's essentially to find the right team. You're a part of a project called Sim Team Architect, and so you're basically in the team building business.
Well, sorry. Yes. So the reason the reason is for doing this is that I've got kids, I've got a full-time job. Racing is obviously a hobby, and I don't have a lot of time to commit to it. And there's a lot of people like me that are on the same boat. And if you look into the forums, the iRacing forums, which are by a long shot the best place to find a team, because it's not, there's a lot of people there, but not too much. And if you look on the Discord, the iRacing Discord, and you go to the team sections, you are bombarded with a wall of text on every, especially close to special events. So if you don't have a team that you're consistently racing with, you can find one there, but it's almost like good luck. And if you've got a lot of time, I mean, go for it. If you've got a lot of patience as well. And then on that same Discord, when you go to the team section, the recruiting sections, you'll always see the same names on top because they're consistently bumping their post up. But not fall down. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. So if you want to get your eyeballs on your team, that's what you have to do. And so it gets diluted. So now if I log in, for argument's sake, like now, 3 o'clock in the morning, if I log in now and I have a look at it in 4 hours time, it's not going to look the same. Some might, because they're pumping it again, but it's going to look different. And especially on the individual one, it's even worse. So I thought, okay, well, people like, you're not going to find a team if you're busy. Most likely not even on the discourse, and maybe on iRacing forums, but not yet. So I thought, okay, well, there must be an easier way to do it. So I've been trying to build this up, and for that, and specifically for the busy racer, because I can help a busy racer because I am one, and I feel like I know what you want. And the thing is, you can jump ship from team to team, but it's never fun. You're gonna stop. You're gonna stop because you're gonna have a bad experience. If you have a bad experience, you're gonna stop racing. Especially if that is what you want. I mean, if you want to do only solo races, you don't want to talk to other people who are racing. Then there's a lot of games you can play for that as well. But on the team racing side, finding that team is the best the best experience you can have, and sticking with that team. So but there's a lot of people that might want to build a team or just want to find a team, and I want to try and cater for both sides. So if anybody's listening and they want to build a team, I'll help them in my I'll share my experience, because I started our team, our Slomos, in 2021, basically out of the same thing. It's like, I'm looking for people, and then we had 2 or 3 guys that we were racing with, and just started pulling in people. And the more you talk to people, and then you filter them out, and then everybody's on the same wavelength. They're all working. It's a hobby, and they don't have a lot of time, and then it works. If you've got synergy in your team, it works, in my experience, and then people stay. But in that same vein, we started getting a lot of younger guys into our team as well. They've got a lot more time to race, and I've realized you need them as well, because they keep a team alive whilst the other guys are not active. The older, not the older, more busy people. I was going to say older. It's not fair. But so there's definitely a balance to be had with this, and that is why I started it. But it's obviously
So,
difficult
Marius, to the
yeah.
problem first of what you're trying to solve, I've seen this firsthand in the forums because I crawl the forums for the show looking for topics, and I inadvertently get these email alerts on that mega thread where everyone's looking for a team, and I see the activity. There's this hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people just randomly hooking up. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just like, oh, this guy kind of looks sketch. I mean, just based on what they type, and so there's no rhyme or reason about how to match up there in the forums. And so this website that you're built where you can go and register with your little project, this will lead to you matchmaking, right? And so how are you
Yes.
matchmaking?
Well, it's matchmaking is it's the how can I put it? It's the depends on what the person wants to do. Because if you just want to race special events for argument's sake, and our team is very focused on that, don't bother. I'm not going to recruit somebody or bring someone in that is interested in doing VRS 3 hours every race. So that is the first part. You need to distinguish between what you want as a driver or you want as a team, and the way you post your ad as a team or as a driver. I mean, the more detail, if you give too much detail or too long of a post, people don't read it. They just scan over it. I mean, it's like there's a, as you say, the forms are full of questions and topics, so you don't have all the time, but you need to put just enough. I tried it when I started doing this. I tried it last year with the Daytona 24 hours. Then I put a post on the forums because I felt like the forums, people who are really looking for teams and are really investing in iRacing, a lot of them go to the forums first, or regularly, maybe like put it like that. The Discord was too chaotic to be able to know that it'll be seen without gaming the system and pumping it up. And then I posted, okay, we're looking for we want to do Daytona. No, it wasn't Daytona. Sorry, it was Sebring just after Daytona. Daytona, what I did on Daytona is I literally went on the Discord forum. I looked at people posting they're looking for people, and I messaged them. I'd see what would happen. And I got some people actually into the team as well through that. But it was I had to literally sit there, type, and go and DM them and say, listen, this is what we got, and then see if I get responses. And about 50 people would respond, 50%, not 50. 50% would respond, and then you talk, and then it's not something they want, not do want. So on Sebring, I did the same, but I went on the forums and I said, listen, we're looking for a driver for the Ferrari, the 296. We are not we're looking for a committed driver that'll just get on track and you're okay. You'll be fine. Can't remember the exact words I used. And the time split we're going to race in, I gave it everything. So there was no, if you want to join, come and talk. It was, this is the car, this is the time slot, track, this is how we race, this is our rating. Not even, I didn't specify. I literally said, we don't care about our rating, just be safe. Just feel comfortable in your pace. So whatever it is. Because I found in certain types of races, obviously they go for R rating and they want to go to R split, which I've never been that lucky to go that high, and to be my highest R rating is 1,400. It's ever been. So I understand that, and there's always a gap. And then I got one guy that Felipe messaged back. He answered a thing that like exactly like that. I thought, yes, if you can take the time to do that, this is the type of thing I can race with this guy. I ended up giving him my seat and said, listen, you race, I'll manage you guys. Just go and race. Just the interaction was very valuable for me. And he was also, he's got a full-time job, he's got small kids. His daughter, if I remember correctly, also just likes to play on his rig and do that stuff like that. So all of a sudden you connect at a personal level very quickly. So the recruiting aspect it's not as easy. If you put time into it, it's not difficult, but you need to decide what you want as a driver, or what you want as a team, and you specify. You go in hard. So I've been playing around with different forms and questions that you can ask and all that type of thing. But at the end of the day, if I talk to you directly, say, listen, what do you race? How much? Now, often do you want to race? I'll get a quick sense of what you want in one conversation, than I would get in filling in a form and just wasting your time, because time is valuable. So I don't want to do that. So if anybody's interested, literally just I'll build it like that, and then I need to understand what you're looking for, and then you can go from there. Because there's different drivers, as we all see, and unfortunately we've all experienced good drivers or bad drivers, and at least we've all experienced good drivers as well. which is always a fun experience in sim racing in general. Yeah. So
All right.
yeah.
Before we wrap up the interview portion, the website is simteamarchitect.com. And I wanted to just drop a little tidbit as well with some information that you sent me on the side. You're actually tracking points for people who are, I guess, who are signed up on the program for both an IMSA challenge, which is tracking both endurance races or the special events, as well as the regular bi-weekly series.
Well,
A- and so those are two. That's the IMSA challenge and the IGTC challenge. The IGTC one is basically only the enduros, right? And then the IMSA challenge includes the regular series, right?
well, the IMSA one, if you do the LMP2 like our team is doing, that is only special events except for um, Canadian Motorsport Park, which is then one of the races. So when that race is later in the year, the real race, I hope there should be. Last year, I had a look at it. iRacing does a good job of having a special event very close to having a endurance race, even if it's not a special event, close to that event. So what we're doing is we are tracking. We got a leaderboard that we got our team. The one I raced, we got sixth place in the race. The other team got a third. So what I did is then we get points, same points as got IMSA gets, same thing, everything qualifying, but we get priority. So third place on the Real Daytona was the second Inter Europol car, so they get bumped down to fourth, and so on. And I did the same for you guys, just as a experiment. So I took your result, your third place, put it on top of the IMSA one. So now the leaderboard, because it's only one race, it shows the Porsche, the what was second now? I don't remember now. The Cadillac, Porsche, the Cadillac, and then you guys. You are third on the IMSA leaderboard if you do that. So because of the GTP. So the GTPs, if you do the GTP, you do all the special events because they are the same as the real races, and then you fill them in with the races that go before come next, the short races, the Long Beach and all that. Because our racing should have a series, an official series, an official race close to it. So I'll use those, and I use that data, and I'll put it in, and then you just run the script, and it
Is that the
populates.
sprints? Is that the sprint series or the team regular
No,
series?
that'll be the team one. I
Okay.
mean, you can do it on
The
the sprint.
6 hour series.
Yeah, the 2.5. What do I call it now? It's the IMSA endurance. Yeah, it's called the IMSA endurance.
It's 6 hour. They run 6 hour races every 2
no,
days.
Or 2.4.
Yeah, it's the
Has it changed?
the Grid Finder Endurance Series. That's the 2.4-hour race.
I didn't know about that series.
You must have a look. That's awesome. That's a very. I always run the 4 o'clock on a Saturday morning split, and I can just solo it. Everybody's sleeping. So those races, because they're very close to it, and they always every second week. And then the IGC one is basically that calendar fits 100% into iRacing now. It's the Bathurst 12 hours, Nürburgring 24 hours, Suzuka 1,000 kilometers, and now the Indy 8 hour as well. So that'll fit in. So you just pick your car, pick your class. I always recommend sticking to one car. And because all of us are racers, we like racing, we like watching racing. That's how you can feel like you may be part of it. That's the whole idea behind this. And it gives you something to aim for. If it is virtual, it's in your team. It's not obviously it's for your own pride, but it's a nice and for people with that don't race often or can't race often, this schedule is ideal. Some of our guys are now more active racing because I showed them to listen. We're going to do this, so these are the dates, and it's like okay, I can do that because then I can plan my whole year out. I can see okay, I can be available on those weekends ahead of way in advance, and then you get more commitment from people. I mean, if you can race every week, then obviously you can do that, and the same can happen for the other races. But I feel like if you follow the IMSA one, then you're going to see CrowdStrike is they're P1 at the moment on the leaderboard. Our first team Nitros is third. So we're fighting against Spike, which is fun. It's fun to do. And on for your guys split, you will be in the because you've also got three classes. It's also worth doing then because then you'll get not that you won't get that 60 grid GT3 field, and then it becomes difficult to manage because the real races don't have that many GT3s. And then you'll spec it to R rating, and if you go pro am, pro or pro am, especially on the IGC side with only GT3s. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So if anybody's interested in doing that as a side thing, even if you have a team, I'll gladly incorporate that because if you have a lot of people doing those special events and you pull those together as well, at the end of the year we're going to have a list of our racers and where we finished relative to each other, although we're on different splits. Because for argument's sake, if our rating is all calculated correctly, which is always skewed in some direction, but then theoretically I'm competing against 5K, 6K teams because in their split they are struggling to get the same position that we are getting in our split. And if you're doing it, if you're not butchering your R rating to go to a lower split, it's the same. You can have the same payoff at the end by doing that. So,
All right. Well, the website is simteamarchitect.com. Thank you, Darius, for coming. And I know you're going to stick, or Marius, not Darius. You're going to stick around and join us as a guest host for the rest of the episode. If you're looking for a team, go to that website. And just as one last little note, he's doing this as a passion project. It's not money making. It is free. So go check that website out.
I will take money, just putting it up there. But thank you very much for the opportunity to pitch it. I appreciate it.
Mike, who's racing for the seat?
The Ram seat. As we all know, Dodge Ram is coming back to the trucks and eventually Cup. And we got a post from Steve Myers over at iRacing, said that he did sign a release allowing that show to use iRacing footage. And so, yeah, I kind of watched part of episode 1 and 2 so far. It's a fun little uh, kind of a talent show for racers, and so they put these guys in different kinds of race cars and split them into groups of 5 and run little heat races, and it's pretty cool. And so they're gonna narrow it down to one guy gets the the Craftsman truck seat ride for Ram, and I haven't really seen them use iRacing in the episodes I've seen yet.
All right. William, do you even know what a VCR is?
I am not that young, dude. Don't even. um, so there's a bug going around. I think I noticed it on the 24 was the first time I noticed it. When you get out of the car or when you go to back to replay, normally the camera's on your car, right? Well, now it just seems to be on some random car. The forum post says the leader, but on mine, whenever it's happened, it's just some random car.
Yeah, the same thing's happening to me.
Yeah, kind of annoying. Not believe me. There's many more bugs I'd rather them fix before this one, but just another one out there.
It annoys me as well. I expect to see my car when I jump out, and then boom, all of a sudden I'm in somebody else's car and replay and all that. Yeah, I definitely find it annoying. They need to fix it.
All right. We talked about it quite a bit last time, but we're gonna beat this dead horse until it is gravy. Uh, those involved are, and also Broadwin's comment. First, we have a video. I did watch it, but I don't remember who posted it. But it's a really wonderfully done, kind of dramatic documentary describing the events of the 518 incidents and just really making basically in a dramatic fashion throwing egg on iRacing's face with the way this with the way this turned out.
So what you're referring to is a particular team had 518 incidents during the 24, and we have a couple different videos here detailing that out basically and talking about it.
Yeah, the first one was kind of a dramatic presentation and didn't show every incident. The second one is a video with Jimmy Broadbent, and he's actually reacting live on Twitch to another video that was a compilation of every incident they were involved in. And a lot of them were look were it was just clearly that they had no idea how to drive the car, but they were just also constantly just bowling over people. Um, and yeah, it was pretty rough.
Yeah, I didn't. I was obviously not here last week, so I didn't get to comment on it in the beginning. But I mean, enough is enough at some point, right? Like, I think I think you guys discussed it at the end last week, where a staff replied on the forums that they're looking at reinstituting the DQ limit for endurance races or special events. But I mean, think about this: 518 incidents. They didn't even race the whole 24 hours because they had to spend like 3 hours in the pits getting repairs from all this stuff. So I mean, that's just I understand everybody is not at the skill level of everybody else, but like I said, at some point enough is enough. I'm glad to see the incident or the DQ level coming back for special events just for this reason. Because, like you said, they ran over a lot of people. It didn't look malicious. It wasn't intentional, it was just negligence. But still, they affected other people's races that probably practiced this for a long time.
Someone in the forums mentioned iRacing has done this before. I think it was 2021, 2022 or something, where they instituted a incident limit in special events, and then it quietly went away a year later. And so here we are cycling that again. Are we going to just turn it on to have it go away a year later? Uh,
But sorry, if for those, if they could just change it maybe to having contact, a different, you have your incident levels, but if it's contact with another car, it must be different to just spinning. Because if they just spun and nobody had any crashes because of the spin, I mean, if they want to struggle for 24 hours like that, it's on them. But then you're not wrecking anybody's race.
Well, another thing
I
that's
mean,
factoring into this is the fact that every car now on iRacing, if you spend all the time to fix it, the car is back to 100%. All right. The accidents that these guys were in, the car's not coming back, and in a lot of cases, the body's not coming back. Okay. They should have been out of the race long ago. And it was down in some bottom split. So the live stewards that are sticking around who catch somebody if they do a nefarious tactic or something like that, they'll come in on that top split, but bottom split is not going to get the same attention. Um, it sure would have been nice though if there was some way to get word of what was going on and they could come take care of this. But then the DQ limit definitely needs to come back, and also it's just a perfect example of the cancer that fast track is. These guys, I'm pretty confident these guys are brand new to iRacing. They have no business doing a 24-hour event after only being in a month.
less than a
I've
month,
been
I think.
Yeah, it was about a month, but I wouldn't even do it, and I've been on for, like,
Mm.
2 years, like, I would take more time. These guys just seem like I mean, I think part of the reason, yeah, they might not the spinning, they might not hit anybody, but when you're trying to pass them, overtake them, I mean, you're who knows what you're gonna get, and that was a lot of those incidents too, where they're trying to go around them and just clipping or they think they're gonna move left and they move right. It was I don't know, it's pretty bad driving.
Doug, we were talking before the show, and you told me an experiment you were doing.
Yeah, so I saw all this going down, and I was a class had a D license in oval, and I wanted to just see how quickly I could move up to a C license. And it took me about 7 races, and I was racing on Concordance Street stocks, and experimented with, I can qualify in the 2, 3, 4, and experimented with started from the front and started from the rear, because I know a lot of people start from the rear to build up their safety rating and just run a safe race. But on those short tracks, you really can't do that, because at some point in time, somebody's going to come up and you're going to have to deal with the traffic coming up from behind you. Or if you start from the front, you're going to have to deal with catching up with there's always 3, 4 people that are going to wreck in the first 4 or 5 laps, and you're going to have to deal with them coming out of the pits. So I could track myself up to a C license in 7 races, and then we switched over to Daytona, which is a different animal, and lost safety rating there. Ran 3, 4 races on Daytona, and had some good races where I had some really good safety rating where I gained a lot of um, level there, and then had those races where you get taken out. So I'm assuming that's what these guys did, because from everything I understand about it, is they started racing with iRacing in December and fast tracked up to, I think I was a B license, so that they could race in it. And in doing that, uh, I don't think that there should be a way that you can fast track, especially up into those special events, because there was a lot of people. I mean, everybody's seen the videos on them where some people are putting months into driving this track uh, for the experience of it, and to have somebody to be wrecking all the time. You'd be antsy coming up behind them, and you could tell that from the videos. Every time somebody came up behind them, they were afraid to pass them. They were slowing down, which caused accidents behind accidents.
Yeah.
If iRacing doesn't move the slider from we want everybody to be able to race towards we want everybody to be able to race safely and clean and more respectfully and more professionally. You heard it in the first video, particularly. If they don't fix this, they're going to really start losing
Well,
people.
people want to take it serious, and you pay money, and you should be able to take it seriously and not. I mean, it'd be like practicing for a gig, and then all of a sudden just somebody comes up and ruins your gig after, months and months of practicing. It's like anything like that. You put that much time in. I mean, somebody comes in and just wipes you out. I mean, that's pretty demoralizing. I wouldn't be on the service for if that happened to me more than once. I think I would take a break. Absolutely.
Well, you said we want to take it serious. The next question, Mike, is are we serious? Which is right there on the thumbnail of the next.
Yeah,
Must be
so
serious.
we have a video from David Land about IndyCar going to Washington, D.C. and racing around the National Mall. This is a real thing. President Trump is trying to make happen um, for the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. So, as you may know, he's having uh, fighting, the boxing thing coming, UFC in front of the White House as part of the celebration, and now IndyCar. And so IndyCar is proactively trying to work this into the schedule in August. And so I saw an interview with Ray Hall, and Ray Hall, the driver, really pushing to get this done. IndyCar management is pushing to get it done. Trump is as well. There is some friction, as you can imagine, from the Democrat side. Apparently, Chuck Schumer, minority leader in the Congress, is dissenting, and so it's not a done deal. But they're trying to make it work, and so I think this is exciting because we know there's an IndyCar game being developed right now. We know that they got to scan St. Petersburg, uh, and now it looks like they may need to scan Washington, D.C. And then I started thinking about how cool would it be to have Washington, D.C. in the service and to run an Indy car around the National Mall. You fly by the White House, you fly by the Abraham Lincoln Memorial. I mean, just the background of it is this epic, exciting. I hope it works. I hope it all pans out. Not on the political thing, but as far as I just want to race at Washington D.C. I think that would be a good track.
Yeah, I think that would be cool too. Well, I wonder how they would laser scan that. That would be an undertaking.
Well, you think they would want it in the game because this is really, as Ray Hall said in his video this week, this is game changing for IndyCar. Trump didn't ask NASCAR to come. He didn't ask Formula One to come. He went to IndyCar, and so he said this is our opportunity to get on a national, even a world stage here, and it's really going to grow the sport if we can make it happen.
I would guess it was actually somebody in IndyCar's idea and floated it to Trump.
It's all American. I'm not even American, I understand it's an American product. So it makes sense for Trump to obviously want to get involved in that compared to Formula One, which is saturated in calendar.
Well, Trump has a lot of ties to NASCAR as well, and so you would think he would go the NASCAR route if there was a choice, but you're right. I think IndyCar is a perfect choice for this situation. Uh, Look, they had an opening on the schedule, or actually, what they're doing is they're gonna the Milwaukee race, which they were gonna run double header. They're only gonna run at once, basically, and then they would stick this in on an open weekend that they have on the schedule.
Well, you think they would have had this in the works before they made the schedule to eliminate one of the races in Milwaukee.
It's a late idea, I think. It came after the schedule came out, but kudos for IndyCar to being open to making it work. I really want to give kudos to that.
All right, we complain enough about, well, some of us complain about the rain in the special events, but what about the fog? The real Daytona 24 had a lot of fog, didn't it, William?
Yeah, I had to work almost the entire 24, so the only portions of the race I actually got to watch, they were under safety car for fog for the entire time. Um, yeah, we got an Instagram post from VCO Esports asking or petitioning to add fog to iRacing for even more realism, and I think they mean safety car level fog because fog's already in the service. But yeah, it's they created. It looks like I don't know if it's AI generated or what. They added some pictures, I assume, from their last event. It has a Daytona, real life Daytona 24 level fog in it. It looks pretty cool.
To make it foggy, you have to really make some extreme settings with the humidity and the temperature to get to actually to make it where you can actually see the fog out on the track.
I've raced races like that and hosted Cadillacs at Talladega in the dark, in the fog, with the settings you just mentioned, David, and it's pretty extreme with the headlights in the fog.
Yeah, I think this was the longest safety car in the history. I went to bed,
It was.
and then I woke up and they were like, "We've been under safety car for 6 hours." I mean, I was iced in. I had nothing else to watch, but I was surprised. I was like, "Well, I didn't miss anything." So
Does that does anybody know does what that will do to the cars as far as their durability? Is it harder on them or actually easier on them?
I think it's easier on them. I think it's harder on the drivers staying awake
Yeah.
because they had the same
100.
thing with Le Mans last year with the rain. And I remember some of the in-car radio, the guys was telling me, let's do a beat the intro or do something. And they need to stay awake. I can't remember which driver it was. So it's, yeah, I think there's a lot of debate on why it shouldn't have been red flagged. I was listening to Midweek Motorsport for John Hindhoff and the IMSA thing, and they were saying that they were shocked that it didn't just red flag it because they knew they were not going to start and just give everybody a break. Let announcers, everybody, just let them sleep. But they wanted to keep the cars circulating.
All right, we got a little news from FIA official, and it is that they have confirmed a path for World Rally Championships to return to U.S. soil. There's a candidate event that's going to be held in the states from this really messed up date format, 11/17 June 2026, and its stages are going to be assessed in Kentucky and Tennessee.
This is great. Look, they brought Rally Car into iRacing, and then shortly after, it just kind of disappeared from the United States. Went kind of defunct, and so then so did the racing and iRacing. A lot of people kind of walked away from it. There's only a small group racing it now. I think this is good. This, bringing it back to the United States is going to drive interest. It's going to drive more tracks to be created, probably. And maybe we can get those into iRacing as well as some more drivers to run dirt road, which is probably the least populated genre on iRacing.
Does anybody race rally right now or dabble in it?
I've only run it when the old Reddit race series I was in used to run it. I think there's something rally car wise in the major series. I don't remember if there is or not.
Well, I've been what is it? Set of course has a rally early release right now, and they have the first laser scanned rally tracks, and that is actually pretty cool. It looks really good. So if iRacing does it, I'm sure they'll do it to that level. It would be cool to have on the service something else like that. I don't know if it'd be worth their time and money, but it would be cool for us.
You say worth your time and money, right? What about $5,000 for some coaching, Chris?
Yeah, I saw this one. I will be honest, I didn't look much past the price. I saw some back and forth in our uh, thread, and I think maybe on Discord a little bit. But yeah, this is from Team Conti. Let's see. I think it's a factory supplement program. So for 5 grand, you get a 9 month long ladder style program. I aim to help you or aim to help the most serious iRacers break through performance barriers and raise their game. 5,000 buys awful lot of coaching sessions, so I don't know what you're getting there. There
Well,
might be
this
something
is
I
Road
totally
to
look.
Coke, is what, you read between the
Okay.
lines. You want to be a Coke driver, you have $5,000, this is the path.
I'll
And
be
a lot
honest,
of
when I
time.
first saw this, go ahead, Marius.
No, sorry. So yeah, you have to have a lot of time and patience. I think if you're on my side of the I rating scale, yes, that guy's gonna think he's charging too little.
I actually thought it was a typo. I didn't think this is a real price.
That's sure. It's
Look, they only need one customer, right? Just one.
Well,
but what
five
does
thousand
real
dollars is
coaching
not going
cost?
to pay a year's rent.
What is real coaching if you want to race in Bathurst, for argument's sake, to a real run, and you are very new or bought a team? What will it cost to end up there and be competent? Most likely more than this. I mean, it's not very extreme now, and you're still in sim racing talking about, but I mean,
Well,
someone's
look,
got the money. Someone will do it.
we've worked with Team Mike Conti before, here on the iRacers Lounge, and we know those guys are at the top of their game on the oval side for sure. And look, for 5 grand, if I paid him 5 grand, I would expect to be part of his team, his personal team. Like, I'm in Discord with him and his buddies, when they race, and that's the kind of support I think 5 grand would buy you. I would hope. Um,
Yeah, they have a pretty comprehensive PDF linked in there. I have not read through this, but I mean it's a good 5 or 6 pages of everything you'll go through and what they're offering. So I'm sure there's plenty of good value there. It's just
how do you set
yeah, that's a lot.
expectations though? I mean, if you have
Yeah.
an iRacer that joined in December and he's like, I'm going to Coke, blah blah blah, and he goes and buys this, and then the reality sinks in, like Doug just talked about earlier.
So you're
This is
saying we
how it
should
really
send
is.
that should be the punishment for those guys with the 518 incidence points is we send them this and they have to sign up for it.
Well, that's how you pay for your engineer, right?
All right, so the title heading, and you hinted at it as well, Mike, in the beginning of the show is iRacing secret licenses. They're not really secret so much as just you can only get them through invite. And this is a video from Kevin Ellis that explains that. Can you fill us in on the rest, Doug? You are still muted, Doug. And you're still muted.
All right, so then I'll try. So we got three licenses that, as you said, well, two, I should say, two that are invite only. You got the Pro, which is purple, and then you have the World Championship or WC, which is black. And so he talks about how do you earn these? How do you get invited? How do you keep them? And all the different things you want to know about them. But look, if you're new to the service and you don't know what these are, I mean, this is a good little video to teach you about what it is. Because inadvertently, you'll jump in a race at some point with one of these people, and you'll be like, how come they don't have the regular, yellow and green and blue like we do?
Well,
And the
yeah,
Pro, go ahead.
and during COVID, watching NASCAR when they were televising iRacing on NASCAR, and you were watching some of those drivers really struggling with it. So you were wondering if they were just automatically handing out these licenses for them. And I remember watching some of those races where they were just struggling with their tracks that they've ran thousands of laps around in real life.
Well, yeah, that was a weird time. I think they did actually give all those drivers a pro license at the time for that particular series. Uh, but yeah, so usually when you see one of these purple or black licenses, they're gonna beat you.
If you want to get them, just go pay 5 grand for coaching.
There you go. That's how you get it, right? And look, the service iRacing does have no obligation to accept or give you a license if you earn it because it is by invitation only, and you have to be in good standing with iRacing. Like if you've been protested multiple times and you're on probation or this or that, they're not going to give it to you.
Yeah, it says they iRacing holds them as the official ambassadors of the platform. So I guess if they give it to you, you represent iRacing as the brand.
All right, Mike, we have an article. Actually, I'm going to give this one to Will. This is definitely up your category and mine as well. Is it time for the safety car in iRacing for enduros?
I mean, this is something we've talked about for a long time, and it's not dead horse territory yet, but definitely something that we've asked iRacing to come forward with their new stewarding updates and all that race control updates. But iRacer Hub did a little bit of a long form article talking about it, and they give some key points, and I'll just go through a couple of them. In favor of it, what they call the ghost town effect. If you're in a 24-hour race, once the field gets spread out, a lot of times there's no one near you that's for position, right? I did the last two full stints in our Daytona 24 race, and I don't think I was within 45 seconds one way, either in front or behind of a car that was for position the entire two stints.
Yeah, we were 9 laps down because of our wreck and still came in third.
Yeah, so safety cars would you know alleviate that somewhat, and then you could add in some real world things like wave buys and stuff like that. The second thing they say for is the addition of a strategy aspect to these special events and endurance races. Currently, I mean, there's a little bit of strategy to it. I mean, definitely you can fuel save and gain some spots and all that, but that's about as far as it goes. Otherwise, it's basically just a hot lap simulator at times. And don't get me wrong, endurance racing is my favorite thing to do on the sim, but at some point it does feel like that. So that adding that strategy, the caution comes out. Do you dip in for tires if you're in the middle of a stint? Do you wait it out? Do you come and get fuel? that's would add some good things to it. And then fatigue. We talked about the drivers in the Daytona 24. You know, they got that break, and yeah, would a red flag have been better? Well, would a yellow flag in an endurance race give the sim racers, a little bit of a break instead of being on, for the entire, 2 3 hour stint, whatever they run.
Yeah,
Now,
we
it's
get
not
to we
all.
get sorry, we get to experience this with WEC, right? With the built-in cautions.
Yep. Now, I mean, it's not all good. I mean, there's definitely some cons to think about. One is, cautions breed cautions, right? A safety car and a road race, is going to be, it could be 20 minutes, just depending on the circuit you're at. You get in an oval where you guys have, I mean, I hear the frustration you guys get from getting caution after caution. There has to be, if they're going to implement it, there has to be some checks on it. It can't be you get out of a safety car and everybody goes into turn one and piles up, and now you're just pacing for another 20 minutes. Um, so, I mean, yeah, I think if you've listened to me on the podcast, I'm fully, at least on the very long endurance races, 8 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours or more, I'm fully in favor of finding a acceptable way to implement the safety car, but below those races, I don't think it has any place.
Yeah, it would take up too much of the race time. WEC has the same rule in that you not WEC, MEC
Next.
has the same rule that if a caution has been out, they will not throw another caution for 30 minutes
Yeah, something
if you
like
have
that.
to tow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's going to require iRacing actually completely fixing the race control because it has no idea how to line you up by class and do all that. It don't even really handle the lucky dog correctly most of the time.
Yeah,
You
there's a
know,
lot of work. A lot of work if they're going to bring it in.
But I think it's as you said, it's the race control aspect that's starting the problem. This is like the end blue sky if it works. Because in our race as well, we were how many laps down, and a wave by and stuff like that would help a lot. Would go a long
Yeah.
way to make it a lot more enjoyable, um, and having that unpredictability. But if you look at that other race with the guys with the 500 incident points, if they got a safety car or a yellow for each time they spun, for like 24 hours of safety cars, here we come. It'll be like the slowest race in iRacing in sim racing history.
well, the good thing with the way the mech cautions work, if it's one of the higher splits where they have enough admins, they only bring safety cars out basically if a car is disabled. Spins and things like that will not bring them out. So they would have to adjust that level of scrutiny as well. If you spin and can get back going, they try to hold the full course yellows. All right. When I saw this next one, Chris, at first I thought the guy probably would just quit sim race. Oh, Mike, did you just raise your hand? Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I know this guy. So Team Trauma is his channel. And he is a ER emergency room doctor. And we've talked about his videos many times on this podcast before. He does reviews and talks about iRacing and different things, but he has a great YouTube channel, and he kind of disappeared from the scene like 6 months ago, and I did notice his disappearance. But he is back, and he put out a video this week telling us where he's been, and basically real life happened. He has stepped away because he had to focus on his professional exams to become a trauma orthopedic surgeon. And so he's been in training since 2008 to actually get this particular position. And so the last 18 months has been very intense, trying to get him that final training to become the orthopedic surgeon on an emergency basis. So good news, he successfully passed his exams. He's back to doing his YouTube channel, and so we'll be talking about his videos on the show going forward.
One thing on his channel, he does a lot of good content, but he has some excellent content if you need help setting up triples for any of the sims, and a lot of graphic settings, those sort of little tweaks that need to be made to get everything working right when you don't know what's going on in the beginning.
Yeah, and it also talks a little bit about, hey, real life happens. Sometimes you got to step away from your hobby, your passion. Life gets in the way. William, you can't even race recently because you're so busy at work. Tell us, you got to find that balance, right?
It's been tough, and honestly, guys, I was almost not coming tonight until I heard we had some people out. It's man, it seems like since Christmas I've been working 70 hours a week and balancing family, racing, and all that. We'll get into my racing and results, but yeah, it's really tough. So I completely understand where he's going, and I think a point he makes is one, take the break if you have to for work for other reasons or just for burnout. And two, if you take the break, don't immediately sell your stuff because if you do, you might regret it when you get that itch again and want to come back and race.
Oh, that chaps my hide when people have a bill come up or something. Oh, I need to sell my sim rig. No, no, don't sell your sim rig, dude, because you owe money to some bill. No, don't do that.
And sometimes life happens in the middle of a race. With kids, anybody with kids, the small kids will know it happens. I ended up doing in 9 hours or something on a Nürburgring 24 hours because one guy's had a family issue. Okay, well, we'll take it. So it happens.
Yeah, our GT3 team last year ended up getting disqualified because somebody had a family emergency and didn't find out until after the race had already started. So
Town sharing, just
no, we know the guy. It was legit. William,
no, no. What
have
I
you
mean
got?
is, sorry. What I mean is that if I would happen, I would just say, listen, this is my login details. Sorry, I gotta go. Just don't get DQ'd. Just log in race, and then and quit.
You,
Something like
you can
that.
actually get in quite a bit of trouble for that too. William, have you gotten a chance to drive a real GT3 yet?
No, I wish. Don't think that's happening anytime soon. But Ciro Zambra has. He got to drive an AMG GT3 at Portimao, which I'm sorry that you had to drive it there of all places. But yeah, so he goes through and he lists, hey, I've been a sim racer for 5 years and I just got to drive this real GT3 car. Here are the differences. And I mean, he kind of just reiterates what we've talked about before. Everybody says, in sim racing, you have your eyes and you have the steering wheel. That's all the feedback you get. But in the real car, it's more of your butt. iRacing really punishes you for getting into the ABS on GT3s, overheats the tires, but in real life, it actually is much more forgiving getting into the ABS. And then he says downshifting is a little bit different, much faster in real life. And then again, we talked about this many, many times before, but the tire model, I don't think it's so bad since the update, but iRacing's tire model has in the past been very punishing for mistakes and slides with overheating. And then again, just the similarities. He says, it's very close, and all the sim racing he did prior definitely prepared him for getting into a real car. Watch the video; it was really cool. It's got some great onboard footage of him going through, and then obviously some video from around the track. It's a good little 5 minute work. Watch.
All right, we still have the Sim Racing Expo coming up in Charlotte, May 22nd through the 24th. We have a few new exhibitors to announce. Acetec or Acetec is going, and actually that's the only one that we're adding. So now
Kind
we'll start talking
kind of
events. Oh, well,
surprised
go
with.
ahead, Mike.
Well, I just wanted to say briefly, I kind of surprised Ace is going to be there, considering they weren't even selling to the U.S. Until just recently. And so it's good. I'm glad they're trying to get into this market.
On the event side, this weekend we are running the Intimidator in the major series. We've been running duels and twins, and I've been wrecked out of almost every one of them this week. I know Tom has already made the top split by winning or coming in second in the top split twin this weekend. So that's coming up a real, a full 500 length race in the Cup car this time instead of one of the older cars. All right. Next up is is this a TikTok from Matt Malone, Mike? I cannot get these to play.
Oh yeah, and Matt Malone is talking about the Vintage Production Car Challenge. Now, vintage is the key word, so they're going to have vintage cars, production cars from iRacing. This is being hosted, and it goes Wednesday at noon. Looks like Central, and then they have another time slot Friday at 8 p.m. And so come join the fun with Matt Malone and friends in hosted to run the Vintage Production Car Challenge. It actually looks like a lot of fun.
And then, Chris, will you go ahead and do the honors with the happening this week in iRacing if there's anything else special to look at? Unmute your mic, please.
There we go. Sorry, I had a window problem and a mute problem at the same time. So it looks like this week Winter NASCAR is at Talladega. Super late model is at Lucas Oil at the Dirt Oval, and the special daily racing series looks like it's the new FIA Cross Car Championship at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Looks like you got your normal regional F4s and the regional GT3s. Ringmeister, I think Mike was talking about this week, is Cadillac CTSV, and Draftmaster at Daytona this week, and then your normal Rainmaster. At Spa. So
Yeah, with Draftmaster Gen 7 at Daytona, guys, that's your practice race for the 500. Get in there, run that 1,000 times.
Or run the majors.
Podcast housekeeping, leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We would appreciate it. Check out our Discord and get involved in the discussion. I actually put up some cool winner videos into the Discord you guys missed out on. And we have the iRacersLounge.com for show notes. We're in regular rotation at Performance Motorsports Network. And get your merchandise at the iRacersLounge.shop.
Mike, have you considered using this piece of hardware as a backup steering wheel?
Well, it's a neat idea, and so we have seen at the recent CES 2026 show a new controller called the GameSir Swift Drive, and it looks like a PlayStation controller, but in the center it's got a disc that spins like a steering wheel. And guess what, guys? It has force feedback. You can see it shaking as the guy's steering the car around the track. Look, is this truly the new entry level product to get somebody started on racing?
On
how many
500
newton meters is that?
Daytonas. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, it's on the 500X Daytona 24 hours. Yeah, that's your go-to. Sure.
I started on a controller on iRacing with my laptop, a little Xbox controller. And I quickly learned I need a wheel, I need a steering wheel, and I got a Logitech G27. But boy, if this thing was available, maybe I would have not jumped to a wheel so quick. But it sure looks handy. But how about like a traveling setup? Like, hey, I'm in a league, I work for a living, I have to travel. I want to be able to race from my hotel room, when I'm gone on my trip. I'll just bring my laptop with this controller,
I think I'm more concerned about the hotel Wi-Fi connection than I am about your controller.
right?
Just hotspot your phone. All right, next is another TikTok. This one I actually managed to get to play finally, but I didn't get to preview it. But it's the Pimax Dream Air, which is one of the we talked about a preview video of it a while back, and it's a super lightweight VR headset. And as far as I could tell, the guy was reacting to it very positively.
Yeah, you can see he's in a, iRacing or some other, simulator, but you can see there's no strap across his head at all. It just goes around the back of the head. It's so light. So is
Yeah, like
this,
the player Ready Player One type of setup.
it is bigger than the big screen one. Um, I don't know, David, you think this will be the new Pimax to get?
Um, I have to go back and review all the details, but I think it's a little bit more pricey than say the Crystal Light, um, which might be a decision factor. But if you got the money to spend, maybe. It I think though that like if you're really wanting the performance and don't care about the weight, I think the Super is still going to be a great option as well. I think the Super has some things that the Dream Air doesn't have. All right, can you tell us, Will, what the Protect the Seats one is about?
Yeah. Well, again, I didn't have the sound, but I can infer from the video. Some guy is suggesting that you use some fabric coating on your sim seat to keep liquids and other stuff you might drop on it. I mean, people do this in the cars all the time. I don't see why this is such a revolutionary idea for your sim rig seat.
Yeah, I never thought about doing something like this to my sim seat. But after he sprays the product onto the Alcantara of the seat or the fabric of the seat, he kind of pours water over it and it kind of
Yeah.
beads up, kind of thing, so it doesn't mess up the seat.
Yeah. Like I said, people do it, real life all the time. So it just makes sense to me.
The company called Gyeon, Gyeon.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them out there though.
Yeah, I was going to say I mean, I've had stuff for tents and camping equipment that'll waterproof fabric before. And Scotchgard, I think, does it as well. I wonder if this is special for Alcantara or like a suede and doesn't mess it up because I'm sure some of that stuff is too harsh.
Yeah, mine's almost like a velvet. I almost be afraid to put anything on it.
Yeah, I got the same as you, but in black. So I have no trouble with liquids though or anything. I mean, it's black. You can't really see much on it.
Doug, let's slide on into the next topic. Can you tell us about Track Racers seat slider? Mute button.
I'm having problems with that today. I actually have the track racer seat that isn't the electric version of this. So, I mean, this is interesting that you can just move your seat back and forth to get your uh, micro fine adjustment to your pedals or whatever. I don't, it. I didn't see what the price was on it and everything like that, but I had the old school track version, like in the '80s vehicles, and I can get my positioning and everything fine. But it's one of those things that once you have it set, you're pretty much not messing with it anymore. So I don't know what the expense of it is, but
350.
is it 350?
Well,
So y'all don't use your seat sliders to get in and out?
I do.
No.
No, no.
The only time I use mine is I have a friend in the neighborhood who comes over and races just in test drive occasionally, and he's a little bit taller than me, so I'll put it back and forth, but I have it marked where it goes back to. That's the only time I ever use it.
Yeah,
I s-
the only advantage I could see is if you wanted it to basically have a memorized position and it slides back to make it easier to get in and out.
If you have kids who want to race, if it moves enough, if you can, yet maybe move it up and down as well. My problem with my children is still small. Get cushions and stuff, but so that something like that'll work.
the problems I have is this adds some height to the entire seat overall that we didn't plan on before. And so will the seat be higher than we designed it to be with your particular rig? The other thing is, I have a seat slider. I do use it to get in and out for comfort, but there's a little bit of flex in it. And I've actually been thinking recently of getting rid of the seat slider and just permanently mounting the seat to try to remove that flex. Um, this ain't worth it for 350. Now look, that product we saw at the Sim Gaming Expo from Sims by Racers, I think was out of Idaho. They had the where the seat slider or the seat was hooked into the slots of your rails, and you had these little twist handles to tighten it down, and it would slide. And so it was really smooth. You would slide it up where you want it, you would lock it down. I really like that because it didn't add any thickness to it. I don't think I would do this.
Yeah, it's a bit expensive. The problem I have with sliders is they're a little wonky. So if you're not paying attention, it'll get crooked, and then you're kind of in the seat crooked. You got to get it right. I put one on when I redid my rig. It helps with other people, like William said, but otherwise it just stays in place.
Chris, it looks like Track Racer has a haptic motion system.
Yeah, this makes it look like that, but it's a 404 not
Yeah.
found. And I tried to Google it and I didn't see anything come up specific to them. I'm sure they are working on it, but I only saw I think they sell
Whoa,
deluxe
you know what
normally.
this
I
means?
saw,
So in the last week and a half, this website did work at trackracer.com/product/trackracer motion haptic system. I forget, I think it was $3,000 by memory.
Ooh.
Um, and so they took
So
the website down and quit
it
selling
looks
it for
like,
some reason.
or somebody jumped the gun on a product announcement. Maybe.
Yeah, something went wrong there. Yeah, but it was definitely published at some point, Chris.
yeah,
So,
when they do announce it, I'll take a look at it. If it was $3,000 for a full four
Yeah,
post
it's not
system,
bad.
that's not bad.
and the controller for it looks pretty small too. It's not like a big old power supply or anything.
Next up, we have the Moza Mission R review. And this will, especially if I needed a display, is the first time I've been interested in one of these higher end wheels. Interestingly, it's on the cheaper side of the high end wheels, but it's the guys from SimPit that do the video, and it's really in depth, and he's really impressed with it. It it's kind of got a curved shape to it. What else do y'all think of it?
So I didn't have a time to watch the whole video. I just kind of skimmed through it a little bit. Did we ever get a size on it? Because in the thumbnail and in some of the video, it looks kind of small or narrow. I mean,
320 millimeters.
wow. Okay, that's deceiving then.
Yeah, and it's pretty thick too. It has a full aluminum frame. It looks kind of um, I guess shallow from the front, but it's got a pretty hefty frame behind that screen.
There's two videos. Race Beyond Matters does one, and the Sim Pit. Look, I wasn't interested in this when I initially saw it, but after watching the Sim Pit video, I'm intrigued. I kind of like the design, the way the layout is, where you reach for the buttons. It looks pretty solid, but at $1,300, ooh,
Yeah, I didn't watch
Yeah,
the
and
second. I missed the second video.
the thing with Moza, as always, is that they don't work with SimHub, so you have to use their proprietary dashes or at least the Pit House software to do it.
Yeah,
And
and
that's listed in his cons.
yeah, and for me, that immediately just takes it out, especially
Um,
at that price.
there's only 5 pre-made dashes, and they're all in metric. He had to
Yep.
make his own
all in metric. That
MPH
kills
style.
it for me right there.
Yeah, we
They
need
have a
freedom
dash.
units.
They have a dashboard, like a section of their Discord for the GT Vision, which is the one with the circle display. So I'm sure they'll have the same, but even that, it's a ghost town in there most of the time.
All right, Will, we got some new pedals.
Purple Race Labs. Are they affiliated with somebody? I feel like I should know what this is, but I don't recognize them. But they are. The first Instagram post is they tag Coanda Esports in, and it says if you want to try them out, they're going to be at Sim Formula Europe over the weekend. I don't know when this was posted, so it's probably already gone. There's some pictures. Shows some of their different spring options. And I think they're at the €1,000 mark, if I remember reading right.
That's the way it
Yes,
reads on the
€1,000. Yep.
Instagram. I guess they're low cell. I definitely don't see any type of hydraulics. That's high end on the low cell.
Yeah, load cell for sure.
I love the little heel tray or the heel cup, I guess it is, for the
On the
throttle.
throttle, yeah. They look pretty cool. I mean, I don't know performance wise, but they look good.
As far as I know, they're new on the scene. Purple Race Labs, they're Dutch made mostly. Aluminum pedals, around €1,000. Yeah, the look is pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, the pedal faces are cool. I like that they're just a little different, but if you look at the back, they look pretty adjustable on angle and height, which is always kind of a problem with certain pedals. So that's good.
All right, we have a review of the BD8 shifter, Mike, and he says why he wouldn't buy it, even though he calls it the best one.
Yeah, it's kind of mixed signals, right? From the Sims circuit, he puts up a YouTube video. And look, I think the biggest thing he reminds me of is I have in my head back from 3, 4 years ago when BDH was 13, 14, $1,500. Well, this particular one, which is the H pattern, is only 499 US dollars. And so under $500, uh, it's a big shifter, and as far as what he liked about it, um, for an extra 350, you can go to the H pattern with sequential and step up. And I think if I did it, that's probably what I would do. I don't have a need for an H pattern only. Uh, and his logic is, hey, if you're already spending 500 on a luxury shifter, do the buy once, cry once, spend the extra money, get that 2-in-1. And that's why he wouldn't buy it. He would get the one that's the sequential and the H. And I think I agree with him.
Definitely. He definitely loved the look in the anodized black aluminum.
If I was starting over on a rig build, I would probably be looking at that as a shifter and try to justify that extra money.
I wish that when I got my P1X, they had the black aluminum available. It was just going to be back ordered, so I went ahead and went with plain. So there appears to be a warning out, Chris, about Windows 11 update that was put out on January 18th. And I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if mine's already done that update.
yeah, I did not. This guy's kind of yelling in the video, so I didn't really watch much of it. But I always turn my automatic Windows updates off and kind of monitor that and my NVIDIA updates. So I can't really read what he's got going on here. If somebody else looked at it, I don't know what it particularly.
He's saying there's
It just says bugged
people,
out. So
yeah, who've updated the Windows 11 and then NVIDIA would crap out and you would have hard crashes and all that kind of thing. So his warning was don't upgrade now because Microsoft knows there's a problem and so forth. So yeah, it's just a warning.
So we've talked in the past about whether frame rate matters or not, and we've talked about how what the slow frame rate is when you're watching, say, a movie, which is only like 30. The original TV standard, I think, was 30 frames per second, right? And this guy goes into it pretty deeply and does some tests at different frame rates 240, 120, 60, 30, and 15. Um, and basically, for him, he couldn't tell much of a difference from 240 to 120, but did start to notice a difference at 60. And he points out at 60, he just felt a little bit tougher time,
Hey
I
Siri,
guess,
give me a
recovering
15-minute
the car
countdown
if it
timer.
started to step out a little. And then if he went down to 30, it was really rough, and 15 was undrivable and made him seasick. I think what it comes down to, it's not necessarily the gaps in between each frame in the slower frame rates, but the fact that your latency from the slower frame rates gets up to a high enough point
Jump
where
to
it can make a
results.
difference. So he said the biggest jump was between 60 and 120, and then going to 240 didn't mean that much.
I was actually watched this video, and I mean, if you race enough and you do it repeatedly, you're gonna notice a difference. And when I raced on screens, if my frame rate drops to 30 for some reason, somebody running background, I noticed it instantly. When I switched to VR, it wasn't that. It can drop, but you don't notice it. I don't know if it's just my experience, but it wasn't that jarring that you feel like, oh no, wait, I can see this is different. If I look at the bar, I could see it goes down, but I didn't feel that different. I mean, I can't run above. I can get to 90 if I'm lucky, but on a race I could probably 70. But even
My
if it
VR
drops to 40, yeah.
my VR sits between 45 and 60, and but I'm accustomed to it, so I probably don't know what I'm
Yeah.
missing if I am missing something. Got one more video we're going to hit before we jump to results. I'm scrolling down to find it because I did give this one a watch. And I agree with this guy. So it's a VR versus triples in iRacing. And it's only a 10-minute video. It's a good watch. And it basically, he talked about how he probably might not go back. Right? Did anybody else give it a watch?
Yeah,
Yeah, I watched it.
he tempts me to try VR is what he does. I mean, the way he talks about looking around the cockpit of the car and how cool that is. I feel like I'm missing out when I'm on triples now.
It is cool. I have a MetaQuest 3, and that's what I first started racing on, with a Logitech wheel and that, and my laptop actually. And it is cool. It just every time I put it on, I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome." And then after I run a couple races, I'm like, "This is a bit heavy." And I just for me, I've got so much stuff around me. I want to see it. I want to use it. And with the bigger screens, it's not as big of I guess, a downgrade. But the depth perception and just the being able to feel space, I really do want to try it with the motion now. I haven't tried it yet, but that would be the biggest for me. I would like to try one like David has on the higher end because the MetaQuest 3 is not all that great. It's not bad, but it's not the best right now. So
It also sucks being stuck with a battery because those things cannot stay charged even when plugged in. They drain.
yeah, I never ran mine long enough to see. I always but I did run it plugged in. I felt like, a lot of people do regular gaming with the virtual desktop, like over Wi-Fi. Um, I never found that to be very consistent for actual racing. So it might have been my setup at the time, but
So,
I've also bought a cable for it. I tried the Wi-Fi and it was it's not stable enough. And when I
yeah.
use the cable, I got to a point where it's charged up and it'll disconnect and it'll say, no, it's not charging. And then after amount of Googling and AI and whatever, it's the charger. It's a smart charger. So I had to get a dumb, these old cell phone chargers and plug that in. And but it doesn't give enough power to keep it charged. So if the race starts, I can theoretically drive 6 hours on it, okay, which is more than enough. But it's that. But it's more stable on a
Mm.
cable in my experience. On the Quest 3S I've got, it's definitely
I
the way to
agree.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
now to argue for the triples a little bit, look, when you're on oval and you're in a pack, like iRace hosted supercars at Michigan, and we're 3, 4, 5 wide, 4 deep, like a parking lot of cars going at 200 mph. The spatial awareness on my big triples is amazing. Like, I can look forward, but I know where the cars are around me to the left and right through peripheral vision easily, and I don't even have to turn my head. I know I can sense it, and
You
so
don't in VR either, though.
yeah.
You don't really turn your. I don't turn my head in VR in an oval. My head. I mean, I'm completely still, and it's wide enough. You see wider than a real racer sees it wearing a helmet. It's wide enough. Add to that the visual spotter aid that I use with JRT, and I never turn my head to see where anybody is. The most the when my head turns is mostly on sharp turns in road racing. When like something like it the 120-degree turns at Coda, tracks like that, I'll be looking down the track instead of and actually be able to see the apex, where some people on monitors can't even see the apex uh, when they're there. It's for me. I particularly enjoy it, and I do feel like I feel like I can feel the car, and I can feel the cars around me. I don't have to see them almost.
Did you guys have? I watched this. Did you guys have issues with the setup of it, like he
I did
had?
not. I did not know.
I did, but this was a couple of years ago. So I think there's more info out there. The MetaQuest 3 was really particular about what wire or what cable to use. There was a lot of things, but there's some hidden settings that you might have to change. It's like anything with the PC. That's why PC gaming, I love what you can do, but there's also that aspect of when you have a problem, you might be searching for it for God knows how long because there's just so many things going on. So
For me, the VR was a lot harder to set up than triples. Even though I knew all the settings, if it could get my head around it, it took me forever and a day to get the VR to a point where, okay, this is fine. The fact that my graphics card is a 3060 doesn't help, but
I,
it's definitely harder.
I think for me, the Pimax was really easy to set up because it was literally my third VR set. Maybe the first Oculus that I had, I don't remember it being difficult, but that might be the fact. It might be just the fact that I'm so experienced with VR now that it was pretty easy to put together. But yeah, so chalk one up for the Team VR. We got a positive video, so I like it. All right, Mike, let's hit those results.
Yeah, let's talk racing results. I ran the Toyota GR86 Cup Series fixed at the Nürburgring. Got a P3. Started on pole, but didn't have enough speed. Fell back to third. Had a guy in fourth beating on me over and over. I think he was actually trying to intentionally wreck me at one point, but I still beat him and got that nice podium. Next race, had a few mistakes, but still finished a nice P5. A Open, Kyle Pendergraft got a P3, started fifth and kept the top five, pitted on lap 33 and was going to stretch the fuel. Restarted 16th and just worked my way towards the front. After reaching P5, caution comes out with 19 to go. I pit for tires and come out P5 on the restart. P2 spins his tire, checks up the whole outside line. I set sail and brought it home P3. Ringmeister. Okay, guys, I'm just slaying it in the Ringmeister. I'm so proud. Let's talk Cadillac CTSV. I couldn't practice, dang it, with the AI because it again mixed it up with the Ford from the previous week. But I tried it anyway. I got a P10 out of P24 out of 24. Uh, Ended up wrecked out. Turn one, lap one. The car felt very unstable. Next race qualified P2. Quickly got to the lead, then fell on my own to P22, and then I rallied to come back to finish P8. Next race, I qualified fifth, spun out, fell to the back, started coming back up. I was going up the hill. Somebody was spun after the fast blind corner, and he was literally sideways across the track, nowhere to go. Huge wreck. Two of us T-boned in, big gnarly wreck. Next race started P2, got wrecked out on my own. This car is so hard. Then next race started on pole position, drove away from the field. Nobody challenged me and ended up with a 22-second lead at the end. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That means I win every week this season, except for the GT4 in this series. Next race, started pole position, drove away from the field, and finished with a 28-second lead again, 2 in a row, winner, winner, chicken dinner. And then finally top split, started P5. Halfway through the second lap, I spun out a P3 all by myself, hitting the curbs and killed it. IMSA, David, P3.
Yeah, a P3 and a P7 so far at Watkins Glen. I I've been getting around here pretty well, and I guess because of Watkins and Sebring and Daytona, I've kind of been farming iRating unintentionally, and I'm almost up to 2,000 again, and it's about as and that's with first time I've been that high since the GTP came out. So I feel like I'm getting a little bit better with this car.
Yep, repetitive motions. Doug, Draftmaster.
Yeah, so been around in Daytona, and I've had a sixth, a seventh, a 16th, and a 21st. Been qualifying ninth through 12th place, so running kind of right there in the middle of the pack. Just trying to stay out of trouble and finding some good drafting partners to get up towards the front. One of the races I was actually running second with about 3 laps to go, and a pack of 6 came up behind me coming out of turn 4. A guy hit my bumper before we finished the turn and twisted me all sideways, and that's when I finished 21st. That's pretty much the only series I've been running this week.
Grassroots Racing. Do we have that this week or no?
Yeah, we
had
ran an
yeah,
unofficial. What'd you do, Will?
it was week 13. It was just kind of a silly Monza oval combine. Everybody could drive what they want, and nobody took it too seriously. I don't remember. I drove the Aston. I missed the setup pretty bad. I was really loose in the slower corners because the trying to get speed on the oval. I think I finished 6th or something like that.
I just drove the low downforce setting. Um, I actually asked AI what set to use, and it suggested Watkins Glen. And other than having to, I tried that, but I had to change the gear stack, but it was awful. I switched to low downforce and was way faster. It just,
Yeah,
um, I had to get used to not having the downforce in in the Mesmos because
yeah,
it was not as much downforce as you would have in the regular GP track. Um, and also you're coming at the first one with a lot more speed
a lot
because
more.
there's no chicane, so you have to really back that corner up. Um, and I wasn't great on the practice speed, but I qualified like fourth. It was running competing third or fourth, and me and this guy were trading for third. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to start drafting with the guy. So I'm riding behind him, and we come to the second sort of chicane, and he wrecks in the way that I've wrecked several times in practice, where it just hits a bump and sends you sideways, and he bounces off the wall back onto the track, and I spear him, and I get yeeted into outer space. I think my car's still up there.
Dude, you did like 30 cartwheels. We watched this back after the race like 10 times.
I
30
need I
cartwheels.
need a replay because I did rage quit after
Uh,
that because
it,
I had to
it
tow. It
sent
was
you
like
out of
I'm
the
done.
track. Yeah. It
Yeah,
towed for you. It was
it
great. But yeah.
it was violent. I mean, it was I for me it felt like it was going back and forth like a ping pong. It was insane.
In VR, that had to be awful.
Okay, elbows out racing lead, William, P3.
Yeah, so we talked about this earlier. This is, besides a little unserious race we did with grassroots, this is the only time I've been in the car since the 24, just because of work and some personal things I got going on. So I got an off track on my second quali lap, so I started pretty far back for this league. I think I was 12th. Able to get through the field decently fast. I think by lap 8, I was up to P4. But by that point, I'd already lost 8 seconds on the top 3. I didn't have any time to do any practice before qualifying. I thought I'd be okay, but I was actually about 4 tenths off the fast guys' pace. I found that eventually, and was running equal times to them towards the end of the race, but by that point, it was way too late. Something happened to one of them, so I picked up a spot, kept it clean from the rest of the race, and managed a podium P3. Not bad for the first time being in the rig since 24, especially with no practice or anything. I'll take it. Pretty happy with that.
Hosted racing I ran, Chris McGuire, old Indy cars at Michigan. I was wrecked out. Then it was Gen 4 at Talladega, winner, winner, chicken dinner. I ended up being a fuel race, but I still pulled it off and made the right moves at the right time. That one felt good. IndyCar, Indy at I got wrecked out in that one, and then I ran a pickup cup at Phoenix, qualified 15th. I think I finished fifth in that one. All right, final thoughts, David Hall.
Well, first, Marius, do you have any results you want to share?
No, no. Only what we did at Daytona. So congrats to you for getting P3 and my nitrous team on my side for getting P3 on the LMP2 as well. But otherwise, no, we've been quiet, recovering.
Okay, I'll jump into my final thoughts then. Um, I continue to be just disgusted with the iRacing stewarding system. The guy that wrecked me 3 times in one of those Glenn's races, um, intentionally didn't qualify. He's fat. He's faster than me, and I let him go. I could have sat there and wrecked him, but I guarantee you, I would have gotten suspended if I'd wrecked him. He dive bombs me to get by me, and insanely unsafe. I just go ahead and let him go. He gets a few seconds ahead, waits on me, lets me pass again, and dive bombs me again. Why does he do this? Because he knows iRacing won't do shit.
Okay, great final thought. Doug Didi, what do you got?
Yeah, same thing. Just frustrated with the rating system. I think there's a lot of people out there that should be kicked off. I run in another league that we had a bye week this week, and one of the guys was saying that he actually got booted out for a week for jumping on the track in front of somebody and they had no contact and got it submitted. So I think it's just inconsistency across the board by iRacing.
All right, Chris Randall, final thought.
Well, I took a break from oval and I've been driving GT3. And I'll tell you, in the motion rig, you get a different appreciation for the car. I tell you that you can actually, where we were talking about earlier, driving by the seat of your pants. I feel like that there is some of that. You can definitely feel the car more, the motion. I'm just still getting used to it. Looking forward to taking that break from oval and driving some sports car.
All right, William Westbrook, final thought. You're muted.
Dang it. Uh, sorry guys. So honestly, work's still pretty crazy. So I'm still around. I'm not disappearing on you guys. But if you notice me missing for an episode or two, that's just what's going on. So unfortunately, it happens sometimes. Like you said, you got to balance it sometimes. Just kind of Brad mentioned it last episode, and thanks for the shout out. But I did win the GT3 Pro Championship with the grassroots. I was beginning to feel like I wasn't ever going to win my own league, 2 years in. So that felt really nice to finally get that done. And then I wanted to comment kind of along David's point. You guys talked about that unsafe rejoin we had in the 24. It was bad, man. If I hadn't been aware and kind of paying attention to what was coming, we'd have plowed that guy. That'd have been at least 8 minutes of damage for us. It's just awful. I'm not nearly as critical about the stewards as David and some of the guys are, but when your own rulebook says unsafe rejoin, drivers that leave the racing surface or involved in an accident are responsible for rejoining the track safely, expected not to impede or endanger oncoming traffic. He says nothing about contact. So when you can't even follow, your own protest system, it's kind of annoying a little bit on that end.
Seems like a theme this week. All right, special guest Marius Pretorius. Thanks for joining us and telling us about your website, the architect Sim Team Architect website. What are your final thoughts?
Nothing really, and thank you all for allowing me to come on the podcast. I really enjoy listening to it, and being on it is even better. And now I'm just prepping for Bathurst, which is in 2-3 weeks time. So yeah, just getting it in. We're gonna do it in the Merc GT3. We don't care about BOP. We just want to enjoy the experience. So hopefully it counts in our favor, because I know that Daytona was a a Porsche POP fest. But yeah, but thank you very much for having me on. It's been a blast.
He reminded me of something as you mentioned the BOP. We were talking in the league race the other night with one of the devs, and according to him, the fuel balance in the Porsche did not show up in the top splits.
Well,
Uh,
I
okay, so then different code.
I mean, maybe that's true. You know, when the pro drivers are, you know, your 9, because the top split in my time slot was 9K, so maybe that's true way up there. But in my split, these guys are getting at least a lap more than us in the other cars without having to save. And the guys that were saving, the guy that eventually won our race, they were fuel saving like crazy. They were lifting and coasting like crazy, and they were getting 2 or 3 laps more. But the other guys in the Porsche who were just driving full out, they're getting a lap extra, and I don't know how that doesn't show up in your testing. I don't get it.
Okay, my final thoughts. Wow, I'm hitting some kind of threshold where I can actually win races at the Ringmeister on a regular basis, no matter what car. And I can actually confidently say that at this point. And it is so much fun to be in a spot where I can sit down and actually contend for a win in every race. And so I can't tell you how much fun I'm having with the Ringmeister or any race that happens at that track. I just have a knack for it. I've done so many miles there now that it's all gelling together. And so loving it, loving it, loving it, having a great time. I'm not even worried about NASCAR. I'll run it, but this is what I'm having fun with right now. So with that, hey, we'll see you on the track later. All right, title ideas. Didn't I call out one during the show? What was it?
I don't
Weenie
think so.
500 was what you called out.
What was it?
The
Weenie
Weenie
500?
500.
Oh,
Yeah.
do we want that?
No. Ring farmer
Yeah, that
Works.
or ring bowder is German for ring farmer.
Well, spell ring right, and then yeah,
Is it? How is it spelled in Nurburgring? Is it with an RI
yeah,
or an
it's an
Yeah, it's
RE?
an
I.
RA.
Okay,
It's
Yeah,
an
it's
I.
not an E.
bro, I'm dyslexic. Give me a break.
All right, so that's it. I guess we don't. Yeah, we have one ring farmer, ring bower.
Ring Farmer works. That's a good one.
Yeah, that'll work.
So I gotta ask Marius. I mean, Marius, am I a ringmeister or what?
yes. Well, if you can win at Nürburgring, you should be able to win anything.
That's right.
I mean, that track is yes, that track is the. Have you done a 24-hour race? You probably have.
I have it. Look, I'm worn out after 3 laps there. I don't know how I could do more than that.
If you
Well,
haven't
we
done
might.
it, don't go into GT3s. You go into the GT4s or the TCR. It's not that daunting, and you can have a good result because there's not a lot of cars always racing there.
I don't know. Maybe it is
We
time
might
for
have to
me to
try it
run
this
that
year.
race.
Do it. It's
I
the
might try to learn it with you. I might have to turn
You
the
got
racing
rid of
mode
that
on.
driving line and took
Oh
off.
yeah, I took it off.
I might have to turn it on.
All right, fellas, I got to go check on the family, make sure everything's still in one piece and not burned to the ground while I'm out
Yeah.
here. So,
Mary's definitely stay
see,
in touch. I want to keep eyes on that how those standings end up working out.
yeah.